Hello, everyone. This is us, Bird, and I'm back here on the Great Asec Attorneys Chronicles. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. It has been a couple months since we played this. I got this back for my birthday, and that is right when a lot of family stuff happened. My dad ended up passing away, and so it's been very crazy, and I didn't have this one actively uploading onto YouTube at the time. So I ended up sitting on the couple episodes I had done, and only recently have they started to now come up on YouTube. So here I am, ready to continue our adventure. So I might have forgotten a few details, but we shall see. We shall see what happens as we continue this adventure. Yes, we're gonna play it there.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath. In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern's shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The speckled band. I believe this is the terrible coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible speckled band I had ever seen.
Ooh. Okay. Wonder what that has to do with everything.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor. Almost certainly with the ink from this upset bottle. A Russian word. So the victim was a Russian man then. And the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script. And evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality. This paper seal was placed just prior to the incident, by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Sting. Much
Who
going
are
on.
you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
Dun dun dun. We don't know what he found though. Ugh, my head is throbbing. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. Are we gonna get framed again? I hope not. Wait, I can't move. Ah, what the? Why am I handcuffed? So you wake up now, We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. Do not believe how you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You! You found me then. We found you. Now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, huh? Sorry? Now you have been found. It is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, No, I'll tell you everything. There's only one thing I'd like to know from you. Isn't that... Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Mrs. Sato? I apologize. I may mess up the names again. I was doing okay, but I've misplaced my paper with the pronunciations. How to pronounce them all. Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Where is he? Where's Kazuma? You pretend you do not know. You are a wolf in the sheep's belt. You are the killer. Do not try to make excuses. What? Kazuma-san's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin. It was bolted shut from the inside. His body? Please, try not to tell us. Do not try to tell us you were doing this terrible thing in your sleep. Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think Oh no, we're gonna get tried again. I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma's life? Answer me, please. No. Oh! Kazuma. It was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha. Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else can you come to England with me to study? Really something else when you brought your luggage in here early, though. The way the Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor. Thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. Really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey! Honestly, I thought I broke every bone in my body. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. If you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. Ugh, I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant, Mikitoba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point? Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, they'd make her guilty by association. Best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyways, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there. I think it won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in it for sure. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been out to sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We're supposed to be going on this adventure to England, together. We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself. Murderer. No, I'm not a murderer. Ah, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes. No, that's not right. I mean, yes, I did stow away on the ship, but murdering my best friend? No one else could have done it. Admit the truth. Susato-san? Please tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare's getting worse by the minute. Because all I can do is try to find out what really happened. He really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. I think I did it. I think I'm Kazuma's killer. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via a porthole window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. Sorry about any coughing I have. Got a light cold going on, but all the talking irritates my throat a little bit. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been someone inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still gonna deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Sasuto-san, you have to tell me. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor is examining the body, but of course, he has no post-mortem analysis experience. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted on our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then. That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what exactly happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something we know you know the answer to better than anyone. Please, whatever you say. You were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but he would always wake before dawn and do his training first thing in the morning. I was waiting inside his cabin as I have every day so far on this voyage, but this morning he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at the cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the cabin door open, and when we managed to get inside, there was Kazuma-san collapsed on the floor. And the white tape, there now, shows exactly where he was found, I suppose. I had no idea anything had happened. He must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. All very hard for me to believe too, trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. It's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's so throbbing like anything. Why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes, I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now. I've been shut up in the cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how Could you have accompanied Kazuma-san's cabins for so long without him noticing? No, no, no! That would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Kazuma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. I don't understand. Kazuma, why do you want this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of the Incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I, that you ought to become a lawyer yourself? Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it. I can assure you of that. I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. He still has a nice breeze going through his bandana, even on a boat. Inside. London is a spearhead of cultural development, center of the world in many ways. There can't be any harm in seeing such an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then what? Nothing. Forget it. Kazuma-san he was always saying the same thing, and he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. Something's still bothering me a little. The look in his eyes then, it was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san, I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I'd known Kazuma-sama, I expected he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes. Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in the cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat, just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep? Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. Sounds like you got drugged. I know it sounds unbelievable, really I do, but it's the truth. If only I had woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. For some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me. I didn't do it. I really don't want to doubt you. The trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Kazuma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Ugh, I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Kazuma was killed right under my nose here. I didn't do anything to stop it. Now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied while whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen. Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'll work out who took Kazuma's life and how and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're gonna have to excuse me. Uh-oh, she kicked him. Flipped him. What the? That was Susato's takedown. Susato what? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry, prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. But how am I supposed to? Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. You expect me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. Show her some evidence right now that proves that I'm not guilty.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always put it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Ah! Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled the sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. In other words, is it possible that I killed Kazuma? Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can't see why Kazuma-san thought so highly of you. Thank you. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating it here. In here, at least. Thank you. So you finally believe me? I'm sorry. No. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. What does she think I am, a magician? For now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work. Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you. Make sure you do nothing that might disturb the crime scene. Won't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating in here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I'll avenge your death. Okay, we haven't got to actually examine anything in one of these yet. Oh. Probably need to, if it's a light blue. This is where dear Kazuma-san would have sat whenever he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry is incomplete, which means... What? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Let's see what it says. It could be a valuable clue. Yeah. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-san may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright. I won't read it. Poor Kazuma. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either, but in this case, isn't it that the need for clothes more important? I took note that the cups are dumped over. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Oh yes, it's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard. Are you Naruhodo-san? I'm sure you're careful to look all around using E and M. Well, I just hit the arrows on the side, but... Yes, let's do that. Investigate thoroughly. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Okay, so it's just easy clicker. Okay, let's see here. Let me check that. Check the wardrobe. That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Not wardrobe, that's a case. Here's a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says "this way up" in Japanese. Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read it. I was turned over and over and over, and then I was talking on the floor in here. Oh, dear. Being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Well, it was less painful than Sato's takedown. Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink. He must have had it knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. I bet the drink was spilled. My guess is he was poisoned. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. I suppose anytime I think of something, it ends up being much crazier and much more complicated than that. I suppose he wrote the message by dipping his fingers in the spillage. Poor Kazuma. No doubt he was in a terrible pain. Almost unbearable to imagine it. Suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments. Was he? I'm sorry, partner. I can't read your writing. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Pains me to admit it, but I don't know. Not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? Or did someone take his finger and dip it in there to write it, but everyone else speaks Russian, and so someone else wrote it? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have you really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh, no, I suppose not. Though it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out there in the cabin. No, sadly not. This is... yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book outstanding that talks about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon a servant. Really? That sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try? Yes! In the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody counts for lowly Japanese people. No, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy. That's all. There was like a murder here. There is a vent up there. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate in the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air in the room, surely it would be connected to the outside. Huh, that's true. Perhaps so the rain and spray won't find their way in when the seas are rough? Something like that? I suppose maybe that's it. When did that get there? Dude, who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. That's what I'm just thinking. Just like randomly popped up. As far as I can tell, it looks like he might be European. Oh, how did he... You've noticed the man too, have you? I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious. And tall. Suspiciously tall. Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And he's investigating Kamazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining, or does Susato-san find almost uncontrollable excitement? Is she like the May of this game? I wonder. By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspicious tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. Oh, please do. Excuse me. Excuse me! Do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. He's gone now. There he is. Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's desk just now? Ah, I see. Fascinating. Sorry. DC. Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. What? And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climates, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that, perhaps? It was really the most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the ribboned occupant of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, aren't you? Certainly I am. No, it's the actual criminal, but we aren't. Do you see anyone in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims on his name? And I have one person who fits the bill. So it's true. It was you who did it, this to Kazuma-san. What? And now you're planning a revelation too? Shameful behavior, Naojo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen, there's no way I... Oh, she flipped us again. Oh my. Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary, obviously. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climates, you do find yourself in the most troubling predicament. Do you not? Well, yes, maybe. Ah, there you have it. You see. What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, the ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation. Indeed, an observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deductions. My method is founded on the observations of trifles, you see, and announce my findings with a bracy certitude. More often than not, I'm right. Heh, I don't think you introduced yourself. Ah, my apologies. Now, how remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of all the century, known to men and women around the world. Over the intimidable Sherlock Holmes. So, it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes. I have read one or two Sherlock Holmes, and I've like watched shows and stuff of them, but I don't know if it's an actual thing of him to like use this as like a code name. I have played Code Realize, and he was in there called Sherlock Holmes. But I think it was like it was like a nickname, or where he flipped the name around or something. I don't know whether that's going to be kind of like that, or if they're just straight up saying, just kind of just basic, making a parody character or something. The very same, the intimidable, actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world, Naruhodo-san? Of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet I've been living on then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? Oh no. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? We still haven't finished looking at the room. We'll have to do that too here. Indeed, I'm the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in the exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rant's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interesting articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have sent from England especially. Ah yes, there it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in the series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective. Make no mistake, I am not the poor, deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backwards. My trusted biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson. I must say, thanks to the publication, I have been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deductions, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning is its purest form. A science? Really? A astute observer notices when the most subtle of reactions in the subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from the data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short weeks ago. How can you look me in the eye and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Haven't I managed to deduce anything? My dear fellow! Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. I was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo-san this morning, I summoned all the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their numbers, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective, Sherlock Holmes, was on board. And the handcuff seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo's. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh, really? Two facts, you say? Here, let's... Mr. Sholmes, please tell us, please, what two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah, yes. But first, let us be precise. Two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follow. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. No. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim's Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. That is a Russian word for wardrobe. Do you really think Cosmo-san would have left a dying message in Russian? In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their heads. For this young man, Russian. Cosmo was Russian, was he? Initially, I considered Jarjarov may be the name of the killer, a certain Russian Garde, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it'd be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe, here at least, where he found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you are acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. Our school's uniform are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. And I had no idea a detective would get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim in the message. Might announce it for possible death hidden detail. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Cosmo had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. Photograph of the crime scene has been entered in the court record. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russian before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that... Oh, yes. The train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining the train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times... I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The thing you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate troubled predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other detail that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Oh yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... Revolutionary... That looks nothing like my character. Please rush via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Cosmo Russian? Sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because what Cosmo said wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of his crime was the same merciless revolution. One who had killed the very men who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you. Val Borshevik? No, no, no. How could it be me? I don't look like anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Ugh, please. I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower? Ah, yes. I wonder what it'll take to convince him that we're not even Russian. The journalist clearly interviewed the man, printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Borshevik, I'm probably saying that very wrong, I'm very sorry, was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? What about the part where you said it was just returning from Afghanistan? Excuse me. Also, it's clearly stated here in the article. He's recently returned after a period of subversion activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all of it. All that is of interest to me within its pages, so I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. And you may find the articles on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. You can hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Before we start talking, you were examining Cosmo's desk, weren't you? Cosmo? Oh yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? Observe for a moment the desk of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Cosmo is keeping notes of the trip. But you know, you could see that writing is not the same as this writing. I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. It's something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know smatterings of Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. Susato-san? Aren't you gonna throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, no, Hojo-san. What earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyways, to return to the matter at hand, namely, this diary belongs to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author was cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to the details. Oh, I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, Bonsai, Mikoto, Nadu Nadu. Trust you're suitably impressed. But the diary is littered with complicated looking characters of which I can read precisely none. Ah! What was all that showing up out before then? If you'd be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged. My dear madame. The final entry here is in Kazuma-san's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray go on. Second sentence reads, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? What on earth does that mean? I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the latest there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Cosmo's diary has been entered into the court record. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being at least. Ah, do you have somewhere to go? As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to? Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate, hence the truth will become clear soon enough. You think perhaps that we could go with you? Huh. No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrist would reveal the answer. Oh, please. After all, you're the prime suspect in the matter. No, there's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as a culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. But actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. He did just call us, like, a murder of, like, 16 people, though. Well, anyways, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Ah! Now he's just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Are you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I could take it. Oh. After Kazuma spent his dying moments struggling, leave us a clue you're willing to give up. You're just gonna roll over and accept your fate. I guess if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. Situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find out a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. Okay. Back to examining after all that yapping. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. What's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. Wonder if... perhaps it was Cosmos doing his morning sword training, do you? I seriously doubt it. And perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san. Bit of rage. I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe to mess up a few books and a statue. Did the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Bureau. It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. And he had a sword, of course. Pets are also strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? You had the dangerous object right there. Can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Here, give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Alright. What do you think this is? It looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing is, it appears to have broken clean in two. That looks like a bell. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Netsuki fastener from a Komodo outfit. I'm not sure what sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like that around with him, would he? The mark beside it, what is it, I wonder? Sort of a brick like hue. Yes, you're right. The color of a brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Okay. That's Kazuma-san's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on his trip. I suppose that shows how important it was to him. And how he's gone. And now he's gone, but I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. What is this? That's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor. But Kazuma-san didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. The Japanese word for justice. The brush strokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, this calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet, you can really look at those characters without feeling shame, knowing who drew them so thoroughly. Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Hello, Uwu leader. How are you doing tonight? Oh no, the corpse is hungry. Yep, the corpse is dead. And hungry. He didn't eat. So we found his friend Kazuma. Well, we did find him. Herlock Sholmes found Kazuma on the floor dead. And we was in a wardrobe. So here we are, trying to prove our innocence once again. We just got done with that, though. Now we gotta do it again. Even though you stowed away on the ship? Now you're gonna bring that up, are you? I can't win. Okay. Got anything more? Let me leave. Then when I went for help, the crewmen forced the door open. This bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt. Not particularly sturdy. Just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with the door bolted, there would be no way to get in and out of the cabin, that's for sure. No wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like this, I feel tensed up all up and down my spine. I remember reading once a detective novel. Culprit used a needle and a thread to draw a bolt across from outside the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal. They seal together perfectly. There'd be no possibility of using the needle and thread trick here, I'm afraid. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The crewman? Do you mean he wasn't there before, was he? I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again? I suppose I could try. Talk to either one. Oh, I needed to hit base. Oops. I can't help but feel like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right. He does look familiar. Excuse me, sir. Oh no, it's the waiter. My mom called me for 2.5 hours. I got to hear about... Oh. Oh my goodness, that is quite the topic. Hopefully she was much happier and calmer after talking to you for 2.5 hours. That would never be a fun conversation. What can I do for you? Uh-oh. It's the waiter dude. Why is he here? I recognize that face, but it can't be. Oh no, it is. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hasanaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board the ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? You won't tell me, I bet. I'm so sorry. Yep. They're special orders. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asanagi's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asanagi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that even have been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-san was assassinated? Obviously, we wouldn't give Asanagi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover for now, posing as one of the crew. I see. You think you figured it out? Well, hopefully so. Sometimes they throw weird things in the middle of it and it totally makes it turn around. Very rarely do I actually guess one of these early. I didn't take my eyes off of him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, inside his own cabin, not here on the first-class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asagi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All you can do is humbly apologize. Inspector, I need you to collect lots of evidence. You helped me last time. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. We're doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? Killer was a rabid wolf that mauled him. The bone and scrap chicken. That's an interesting theory. You never know. With these games, you never know what could pop up. We may very well have a rabid wolf. Sherlock Holmes was telling us that we were Herlock Sholmes, I mean, not Sherlock. Herlock Sholmes was telling us that we were some Russian revolutionary that had killed 16 people, was his theory. So, you've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that stormy-looking seaman over there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now, they think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible? Give me something to work with, do you think? I'm gonna need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example. I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san. By presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? Just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel. And choose some evidence that Inspector Asanaga could use. Evidence that give us a viable reason to investigate the cabin next door. Okay, we want the diary. I think I know what he could use. That we want this. What's that? It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-san wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. But what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, isn't it? Is it? Your very suit, Inspector. The ventilator clearly joins the next door's cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asanaga. Safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Let's move. Alright. Yay, we can leave. Alright. Whew, I'm finally out of that cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I expected. Less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Cosma was being sent on the study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in the first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodations in steerage. Really? That must be awful. Uh-oh. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch. It looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. Door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. You've been at sea for 2 weeks almost. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Cosmo's trunk when I first came aboard. Ever since then, I've been shut up inside the little wardrobe. Must have been a very trying time for you. Please don't give me that pity look. Can I examine any? Yes. Scares me. That's a huge book on top of the table there. There's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Can we have a look through it? The writing's so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. Thought he might appreciate the compliment. Not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. This looks like a plan of the SS Bure. It shows each deck. Look. The Bure is a large-scale steamship with a triple skin hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, considering the Japanese archipelago, island of Japan. Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth. Many, many times larger than the ship. They don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea ever since the gods created them. Well, I suppose so. This is the cabin next to ours. One the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuma-san wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in the cabin can help solve the particular mystery. Let's ask. Maybe I should have checked that. Whoa. Dude, your shirt doesn't reach your doesn't cover your belly button. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here. The sailor's eye speaks volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. What I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. Good, yeah, good. Why is there a mousetrap here? Doesn't look like he's gonna let us pass. That's a problem. Okay. Let's check. Curious about this. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back at home in Japan. Though they seem to be using a clump of chalk or something as bait. Let's see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. Made from the milk of cows. Jeez. Wonder what that tastes like. Don't try it. Can't heat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... Ah! I suppose you're right. We deserve, nay need, buff men in crop tops. I'm assuming it's just too short with how tall he is, but yeah. It was a nice little detail. They made him his shirt not quite fit. You aren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. Looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. This is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm's for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop. The ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Okay. First class cabin number 1. This man is dense. He definitely is at times. This just happens to be our character that has to solve mysteries. Not our cabin. It's Kazuma-san's. Sorry. Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? Small is the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are for the finest in the ship. My own cabin is steerage's number 539, by the way. 500 in. How many cabins are there? Okay. That's the way to the second class area of the ship. Something wrong. I was thinking about making a run for it. Just for a moment. Things aren't exactly going well for me. I might be wrong, but I imagine the moment you reach for the handle of the door, that burly seaman would surely shoot you dead. Oh dear, I'm sorry. Perhaps I went a little too far there. No, I started it with my talk of running away. There's no way I could run away while Kazuma's death remained a mystery anyways. Last thing talking to him? Oh no. Excuse me, but could I ask you something? You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? You little third-class lady's maid. Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I'm not the sailor. My mother gave me a name. I'm senior crewman, Biff Stroganoff. Oh, Beef Stroganoff is the... They do puns with a lot of the names. They did in the last one. I forgot they did just because most of the names have been Japanese so far. Okay. Well, the best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in the finest part of Bure's steamship for very important persons. What sort of a very important persons? That's the worst one yet of names. It's easier to say for me though than some of the Japanese names, but it's a yep. I wonder what other names are gonna pop up. They do some definite pun names. Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean. But Stroganoff is not animal. Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asaki's currently occupied? Susato, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. Yes. Is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there is somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Zagi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. Grimsby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman. Western gentleman? Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of a student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is an authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in a lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is not your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been on sea for 2 weeks now, I've been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time. I never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there was anyone there. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first-class cabins, he must be rather important. Is that right? That is not your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all the time. So criminals like you cannot come in, or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is sad about Student Boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. Did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual? Yes! Susato, did you understand that? It's clearly a no. I don't think that's how it's pronounced. Probably not. I don't know. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way? I said no. Was Rinosuke? No. Everyone thinks it's me. Which is funny. This guy says that he heard and saw nothing. But Kazuma wrote in his diary that he was hearing a whistle sound from somewhere. So either this guy is lying or maybe he left for a little bit or something. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he couldn't catch my eye for a moment there. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area, staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles at top of mountain. Or as English say, when the pigs fly. I've never heard that phrase. Lobster whistles at top of mountain. Interesting. Yes, I understand. Interesting. Okay. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly. Definitely. I think we got most of everything now. Right. Oh, we can look this. Looking this better. Here, there's a pen with it too. Yes, I'm sure that's the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? You might have only heard the whistle from the massive vent. Possibly. That is possible too. We don't know yet. The writing so neat is precise. Every detail about the voyage is meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such a beautiful handwriting. Anyway, look here. Last night's log is mostly blank. Nothing to report. That or he was like busy and not paying attention or was gone or something. I don't think he was on duty. This is it. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosmos wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve the particular mystery. Let's ask. Billy Button Man's not going to get in the way this time. No answer. We're out of luck, it seems. There's no one in there to help with our inquiries. How annoying. Ah! What was that? Came from inside the cabin. The high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Please, wait, Mr. Sholmes. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the dunce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What prey can I kick? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Who are you? It's the Russian man from the article that they claimed I was. Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman! Don't be absurd. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. You are? I'm the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt? No. I'm the great detective among great detective. I am a great detective among great detectives. One who adores the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. May I use this magazine like a business card? A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time. So might it be so bold as to open the small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? Well, it's quite fashionable these days, not traveling inside one's trunk. Don't look at me. Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Leave now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Cosmo's neighbor, Mr. Grimsby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. Strange Russian man is hiding something. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly sailor returns. Okay, got it. What are you in the wardrobe? Get out of there. What do you think you're doing? Ah! This is my cabin. Get out. We just have a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps? No. Ah, what a pity. I think we're out of luck. I think you're right. There doesn't appear to be anything more we can do. I agree, but there may be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective could get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. I figured we're gonna have to talk to him. You have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes? You need only address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course. Resting? Indeed, I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobes whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time you would need to call my great powers of detection into service. Oh! And it seemed that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host is in his cabin. Mr. Roylott is clearly trying to hide something. Newspaper. He's cutting newspaper. Do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russians hiding a secret? Why, the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusive for the Russians. Right? Can you imagine how the Russians will react when the secret he guarded so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it? Oh yes, please. Well then, what you're about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deductions to this case. Okay, really fast. I am going to go... I have a slight cold, so I'm going to go clear my sinuses real fast. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you? What? From time to time it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you or anyone. That's right, and Mr. Sholmes. I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Shh! I must have complete silence. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that? Just as I thought. Yes, I've quite made up my mind now. There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions. What do you mean? Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you are about to end the existence of someone most dear. Are you not? Huh? And number two, the other conclusion I have drawn, you are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not? Ugh! Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I'd witness one of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions with my own eyes. That was a great deduction? Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he deduced all there is to know about a person. What? What in... Well, twaddle. Okay. Oh, yes. I've read about it countless times in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. Now have I experienced the most astounding impact of its great deductions firsthand. It's like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but All the color is drained from Mr. Roylot's face. Looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholm's conclusions were right. How? How could you? How could I possibly know such a thing? You wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let's bore the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let's work through my deductions together. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Oh goodness. Topic 1. Old man's identity. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously, or catches the eye in the first place, is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, staring us in the face. You're gonna cut your beard. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport. Now, moving on. The question then begs is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of a magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. Regards, if you will, this morning's newspaper, in particular, the fascinating front-page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russian via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject on the article possesses extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself. Villain That's gonna be villain. Villain Bolshevik. I'm sure there's probably a pun in there, but I'm not sure. Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand. A love revolutionary on the run. Wrongdoing. Now, as for my second conclusion, you are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unaware, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Answer you seek lies where the furtive glance falls. Proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. I want to bet it's like an animal actually in there. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps. One slight enough to fair fit therein. That is a tiny case, though. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of this young lady in the travel case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glaze to find the answer. Yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of the newspaper. But there's another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing river... Oh, I never did look at the back. He did mention look at the back page. Renowned prima ballerina, the Novik Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Oh, I didn't even know she was missing. Your crime is that of abduction. According to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova. This concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this great enigma. Elementsky. Susato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions. You know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Could you come over here a moment? Ray, what can I do for you? It's about your deductions. Would you mind? Not at all, go on. Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we've had the same discussion before, but these two men look nothing like each other. Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. At the time, I believe I told you that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance. In fairness, Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Raleigh does look more like this man than you do. That's not the point. The other thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina. Indeed, a truly startling revelation. I still don't think a ballerina's gonna fit in that. First glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman. Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be like to fit a 5-year-old in that case. You pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old girl, is she? You don't know? No, the young lady is 15. No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case. Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe. Should be a man consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies? Vinegar? For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself in the confines of a small case. Oh dear, you might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. Ugh, this whole thing is turning into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention is logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Susato. It's just one or two key words in the deduction that seemed to let him down. I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in the deductions? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we do that, we unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deduction. Precisely the thought was going through my own mind. Man, is a lot of work. Times I wonder how anyone puts up with me. Ha! Not that funny. On you, my good fellow. Sorry? Take a moment to look at your wrists. Wrists? Where are your handcuffs? What? How did... I felt they maybe hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction. I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your wrists when we are finished. I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this. So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Another one. Okay. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay. So, the dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously catches the eye in the first place. Almost pair of shears in your hands. Now we ask ourselves what could possibly want with such an implement. Answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away your copious beard you sport. I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I've ever had to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. Doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Try to switch a keyword here, Naruhodo-san. See if it helps the matter. I bet he was cutting up the paper. But how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. If it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deductions better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we can even use to switch around in the last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really using to use those enormous shears on? What is this? What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks? No, color's not the point. The point is, what is it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? How's it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something definitely not right here. The cat. Can't go anywhere. I really... A very thick hat, isn't it? Ah, that's a secret you see, Naruhodo-san, don't you know? Secret? What? Well, before we left Japan, I took some time to study various foreign countries. Russian is a land of unimaginable cold, and a thick hat is the secret to keep him warm. Without one, I thought your brain would freeze. That was just one of my many fascinating snippets of information. Oh, Mother, not Russia. I think maybe you picked the wrong book there. Well, I can't, like, scroll out farther. I think it's the hair. Not like... Yeah. Maybe I need to look at each thing, actually. I haven't looked at the beard. It really is a very full beard, isn't it? Yes, although according to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylott was about to cut it off. I still think that he looks nothing like the man in the picture in the newspaper article, though. Apparently merciless, revolutionary, vile Borshvek, so if he wasn't going to cut off his beard, presumably he was going to cut something else off. Yes, we need to look at this from a first perspective and try to work out that. How do I decide? Present.
Yes!
There. Hey look, we actually see our character a bit. You're on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport. Indeed! You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man. You're not a man at all. You're a woman, judging from the length and sheen of your hair. But this is the ballerina, probably. You're still very much in her youth. Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair, no one would have suspected. The question then begs this: why would you desire to rid yourself of those magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary. No, it's the other side. Well, that was a shock. No idea the old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Sorry. You look like you're in element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strict business. Yes, yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part, Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? Evidence that he picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true. Given that Mr. Roulade is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. Suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence to something else. Something that fixes the fact that we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. Feels though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. Oh goodness. Okay. Oh. There we go. This one. Ah! Flip over. This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no. I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. Can't read a single word, I'm afraid. Nor can I. But look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess. You think? She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make any sense of it. Ah, I'm glad you noticed this article. Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents. Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. About the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novich Ballet disappeared from Shanghai. During the performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She's, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? It appeared the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Oh, she stole the crown. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? No idea, but I'm quite sure. Must be an unbelievable sum of money. Her eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of the Novich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They've requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of the Russian fleeing his or her country? Does seem to be the Russian thing to do. Not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo-san. Okay. Okay, so we need this one. We're gonna present this.
Yes!
And the thing that moved in the case, I bet, is a pet that she's not supposed to have. Evidence that reveals your true identity. Of course, the article about the ballerina. That's right. You've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear you are finally able to address you by your true name. Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novich Ballet's prima ballerina. Miss Nikolina Pavlova. Ah! You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. ballerina on the run. Solved. Alright, now to correct this. Now it's for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. She is. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes. Taken unaware, most people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Ah, I assure you. The eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. Answer we seek lies there. The furtive glance falls. Proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, the traveling case. This woman is the ballerina. She's right in front of our eyes. Declares she can't be inside the traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this woman was apparently committing? She's got the crown. Seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Stop it. Anyway, there must be something else here that shows what this woman is up to. Well, there's the crown right there. Wow, look at this dazzling tiara. Never seen anything like it. Are those real diamonds, you think? Oh, Naruhodo-san, try it on. What? Me? Isn't it usually a girl who wears tiaras? Wouldn't you like to try it on? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. It's far too beautiful. Why does tiara look familiar? I feel like I've seen it somewhere recently.
Yes!
The tiara. The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. Ah! I believe the tiara is worn on stage by dancers in the Novich Ballet, is it not? Indeed, it would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in the newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles. Why did she just have it sitting out? In summary, the crime you've committed is theft. Oh no. Yes, you left your ballet troupe, unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you. Ah! I'm no one, no family, no friends. I'm all alone and I need money. I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. This girl is only 15 years old. She's run away all by herself? She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now. Come, let us not be hasty. What? There remains one unsolved mystery about you. Mystery? What do you mean? The case. You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova? My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I even laid eyes on them. Dear me, we're not well suited for a life of crime, are we? Your callous coup d'oeil betrays you. Once again, you only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case are written in the books on the shelf. They're messed over like how the other books were, kind of. Please change tact with this deduction now. I think Mr. Soames is adapting his logic to the changing circumstances, don't you? Maybe, but why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? It's a wild guess, surely. Oh, do you think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would be written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true, but still, Miss Pavlov certainly didn't cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. It must be somewhere in the same direction if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree, that's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Ah, right there. The pet warning.
Yes!
Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case, written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabin. Pets are also strictly forbidden. And inside the case you are something forbidden from carriage on this vessel. That's the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. Why do I feel like she's got a snake? They had a snake like at the beginning, but I wonder if it's actually a snake or if it's something else. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous items would move to its own accord. Which leaves one possible, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Is the last item listed forbidden in the vessel rules. A passage. A pet. Ah! This is interesting since you're on a boat. You can't have like an actual court. Okay, so it's like, it is interesting version of doing this. So Color, you aren't who you say you were. No, I'm not Grimsby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct. You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland? Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel, which couldn't have been easy. The Bernya is a huge steamship with vast crew. Could you really have snuck on board without being noticed? In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. You intended to serve all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair is no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave well alone. So, if it was just you about cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin? That veritable tinking of a bell. Why, no, none other than this young lady, naturally. More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they'd come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself, so no one would recognize me. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man, I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper. Right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearance completely, they'd find me. So I decided to cut all of my hair as fast as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and that's the precise moment we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door. Things happen like that sometimes, don't they? Things you intend indeed happen like that from time to time. Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? Hello, Word Machine. That is Herlock Sholmes is his name. But yeah, it's Sherlock Holmes. Just slightly altered name. He's not the best. His deductions tend to be a little wrong. We're kind of helping him. You were right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. So, bandana guy, the guy with the flapping bandana that would never stop and he had the sword, yeah, he got murdered in our cabin. And everyone thinks I did it, killed him. So, everyone thinks I'm another murderer again. Please don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, your secret is safe with us, I assure you. But in return, you must tell us as much detail as you can muster about the events of last night. Yes, alright. I'll tell you. Well, Naruhodo, wasn't it something, Mr. Shom's great deduction? It was certainly something, yes. I'm just not entirely sure what, but at least Miss Pavlov has agreed to tell us what she knows. That's incredible. Indeed, it is incredible. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, yes? What? Observe your wrists. Oh, goodness, he put them back on, didn't he? Gosh, he locked us back up. Ah, your hands! You're cuffed again! What? But how? True to my word, I have restored your shackles. When and why? There is still a shadow of guilt cast over you, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm sorry to say, it can't be helped at the moment. Can't it really? Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlov has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. Okay. What happened, girl? Why does everyone always think we killed someone? Well, we are a stowaway. Kazuma helped us sneak onto the ship. And he's been hiding us in his wardrobe for like 2 weeks now. And so the door was locked from the inside. And we were the only ones inside the room whenever they busted in him being dead. And I think we got drugged. We ate food and then we were like out. So I think he was meant as the target though. But he didn't like chicken, so we ate his chicken and we got drugged and we were knocked out in the wardrobe. So we didn't see anything and they caught us as the only person in there. Yeah, we definitely got drugged. Yeah. So, but Sherlock Holmes has thought we were some Russian revolutionary that's killed like 16 people is what he thought. And he kind of has everyone's pointed their finger at us because we're the only one that was in the locker room. So we found that this vent here connects both the rooms. And Kazuma had said in his diary that he'd seen a speckled band coming through it. Just a few hours or so around, not long before he died. So we were in the neighboring cabin to check it out. We found this runaway ballerina that stole a crown that was dressed as an old man. We had to break her secret down. So now we're going to get info out of her. Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? You never know. It might be her. One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh, that's why we're trying to find out what happened. Oh. And some stretches. Yep, there we go. Thank you. We'll say this game takes all the talking really does a number on your throat after a while. So I don't know. I do know that Sherlock Holmes got all backwards about Kazuma, Because someone took Cosmo's hand and like had him write a message in ink. But the thing is, they wrote it in Russian instead of Japanese, and he wasn't Russian. So it's like some weird things. Hence the hydrates. I also play visual novels too. Yes. Yes. I've got a big old cup here that seems like it's almost empty. I think my throat's not gonna like me once I'm done. I'm hoping for there's gonna be a save point here soon. This game has kind of long save points. I think I can save it, but I don't like busting the chapters up. That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking? Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps its steam engine exploded. Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened? Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. Phoenix Wright does have yes, it does have long save points. And I think they get longer as they go on. Definitely. But I'm still only in the second chapter, so hopefully it's not too long. I want to say last chapter it was always between 2 and 3 hours that it was taking to get to a save. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet. I'm traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life. You wish to forget? Challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder. But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. I have no money of my own. The Novich Ballet gives us only a little food and water. We must dance all over the world. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself? Yes, and the crew of the ship. They have all been kind to me. They let me come aboard, and they said I could hide in this cabin. If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, here's the most intriguing conundrum. Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes. Of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. What conundrum? I'm not sure, but... Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Bura stopped by no port last night. Ah, that's it, of course. So how is it, pray, that you come to be aboard? Now that I think about it, the crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when we mentioned that. It was just after we asked them about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard. That is none of your business. Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended upon the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry, what was that? This is how the Russian newspaper described one of my performances. That's how I came here too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. Helicopter, maybe? Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I never can resist a touch of the dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same. A genius descends from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself. A quote from the wonderful, extravagant advertisement for the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact. Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyways, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board according to the rules of passage. Oh, please don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious... Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt. Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Holmes. Well, what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? Is it? It is, isn't it? A snake. Maybe an adorable little rabbit? It's a snake. That's my guess. Ah, you credit Russian as a land with small rabbits, do you? Oh, don't they have small rabbits there then? You may well ask. I have no idea. Ah. You two are miserable burglars when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerina's friends. Bunklers. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken. Really? Considering the benefits. A rousing wake-up call. Daily fresh eggs. And then when advertising strikes, it would satisfy the needs of sustenance. So you eat your friends? I'll remember that. No. Well, it would appear this friend's identity is closely guarded secret, and to be revealed. Ah. God really doesn't quite trust us yet. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Okay, let's see here. Let me see. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Adversity, yes. I read it so fast that afterwards I was like, I said that wrong. Yeah, I said it wrong. I flew through it and then realized that that didn't sound right. Yes, and he wrote it in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads, 1:23 a.m. I hear a faint whistling sound. I wonder if that was a helicopter coming or something. A few minutes later, 1:35. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Speckled band? I don't understand. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victims' cabins are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova, has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band the victim mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistling sound, perhaps? It's definitely a snake. It is, I think. At the very beginning, it had Sherlock Holmes. Like, it kind of looked like he was like in a cave with a snake and all this. I didn't know if it was just him making up, but it definitely is pointing towards an actual snake in the game. So, no, I don't know anything. Oh. Excuse me, Mr. Roylott. Yes, what? Wow, she's fast. Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please. All right, I will come now. What? You must leave now. Oh no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Rodot. Get out! Passenger said out, or you want me to throw you out. Ugh, it looks like we'll have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. And so we lost our chance. I wonder if it's going to save here. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. Yep, okay. We hit our save point. There we go. A lot has happened for sure. I do like the Herlock Sholmes. I think he's pretty fun. Alright. Alright, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that. I thank you so much, Ware Machine, for stopping on to watch, and Ooh Leader for stopping in earlier. Not sure if he's still on or not. He might still be here. But thank you both for stopping in. It's been a lot of fun. There we go. Sorry, I was scrolling through my comments. So it went everywhere. Alright. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I have, and I hope to get to this series much more frequently now, since we are uploading it to YouTube on Sundays. So yeah, hopefully we'll see a lot more of this here soon and get through this game. But I'll catch you all next time, and thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.